Hello and welcome to When and How to Leave Your Job. My name is Mariana Yerby and I'm the Career and Curriculum Manager.
And I am Lynn Leese. I'm the Director of Career Education here at Mercy. This session is being offered as part of our Fall 2023 Career Academy series. Completing 4 out of 6 Career Academy sessions this semester will earn you a digital badge and will enter you to win a brand new iPad. Watch this video to the end for information on counting your attendance.
Thank you for joining. Let's get started. Here's what we'll cover today. How to know when it's time to leave, and since this is so important, we'll probably spend most of the time here. How to leave professionally once you actually make that decision. And then we're going to cover 2 different situations, leaving with a new job in hand and leaving without a new job in hand. All right, let's get started. Here's a quote from a former recruiter and now career consultant. Not every job is a good fit, even if it was supposed to be your dream job. The best way we learn how to navigate our career progression is, for better or worse, having experiences, both good and bad. I wanted to start here because I want us to realize it is okay if a job doesn't work out. It's okay if it's not the right fit. It's okay if you thought it would be. You don't have to feel bad about what you have to do to take care of yourself. Through experiencing what we like and what we don't like in a job, we grow and we become better. It's very hard to know if and when you should leave a job. These situations are not as clear as we'd like them to be. Sometimes you might think you can not work there one more day, and then other times you think it's not so bad. You ultimately must be honest with yourself and decide what you want. Nobody can tell you what's best for you. We will share 8 warning signs that indicate it's time to leave your job. Of course, the list is not exhaustive and not an absolute guide to what you should follow. Only you can evaluate your situation, but we're hoping these questions can help you clarify. Seeing any of these signs is an indication you should consider leaving. You don't need to recognize all 8 to feel you can leave. Hopefully, we can help you find the difference between a job you love with some tough moments and a job that is just not a good fit for you and you should think about leaving. As expected, we do not recommend quitting abruptly, but rather evaluating if you can change the parts that are not a good fit or if you have to leave. This is the first and probably one of the clearest and most important signs, when your body is saying so. When you start suffering from aches and pains, irritability, difficulty sleeping and eating, this all points to unhealthy levels of stress. Of course, every job has some level of stress, but you know when it's too much. Nobody should sacrifice their physical and mental health for work. Your body is giving you signals. You must listen. Chances are those closest to you have noticed this in you as well. This is also when you realize the way you're currently functioning is not sustainable. Realize that it's up to you to do what you know will help you. Nobody can see it better than you.
Number 2, when you are maxed out on your learning. Maybe you have come to the point where you are the expert and there's no room for growth. We recommend that you first speak to your manager about internal moves or adding new responsibilities to your job. Sometimes your growth at an organization won't be linear, but there might be other opportunities to develop your skills and your career outside of this specific role. If after trying that you don't get support and you find that you are bored or do not feel pride in your work, it's time to consider changing. Life is about constantly learning and improving, and we must seek out new opportunities to develop ourselves.
Number 3, when your Sunday night blues turn into more of a depression. You may remember since you were a child, you felt the weight of the week ahead around Sunday night. However, that usually passed on as soon as we got into the week and got excited about what we were involved in. If you find you are unable to pass this moment and instead it intensifies to the point where you're dreading or fearing the week ahead, It's a sign you need to reevaluate where you are. Life passes one week at a time, and you don't want to dread every week.
Number 4, when you have simply stopped caring. It is not realistic to expect to feel 100% excited about 100% of your tasks at work. But when you find it increasingly harder to do even the most basic ones, and you don't care if you do them well or not, you are no longer invested in the work. It is important not to confuse this with the need to rest and take breaks. We all need to take breaks to be productive. However, if after taking a break you are still not motivated to do the job well, it's best to leave before your work suffers too much or you get let go.
Number 5, when you don't admire the people above you. How do you feel about your managers and leaders in your organization? Do they model behavior that make you proud to say where you work? Do you see them as examples? Do you feel you can learn from them? Do they have work-life balance? Is there frequent turnover? Do you feel you're aligned with the organization's values? These are all key questions to ask yourself.
Number 6, when the financial stability of the company becomes questionable. Stay tuned to news about your industry and intel that you can gather appropriately about your organization. Most industries and companies have ups and downs. But if the situation seems drastic or long-lasting, if you feel the organization really might not survive, or if you have reason to believe your position might be cut to save the company money, it is usually a good idea to start looking for another job.
Number 7, when you feel undervalued. If you know you give it your best and you never get a thank you or feel appreciated, it's time to think about leaving. Of course, you can't expect a thank you for everything you're supposed to do in your job, but you have to feel like your work is valued. Do you get positive feedback on the work you do? Are your ideas ever implemented? Does your manager discuss your accomplishments and skills with others? Do they find ways to get you involved in projects that interest you or showcase your skills? Are you ever told that your contributions are valued? If you don't have evidence that you're valued or if you're actively devalued, you might have to think about moving on.
Number 8, when you read lists looking for a reason to quit your job. If you are watching this recording or looking up, how do I know if I should quit my job? Your gut is trying to tell you something. As we said in the beginning, this doesn't have to be for some of the dramatic reasons we covered. It may simply be a question of fit. It's okay if the job is not a good fit. You are the only one managing your career, and if this role doesn't work for you anymore, you have to move yourself forward.
How to leave professionally. Assuming you make the decision to leave your job, here's how to do so professionally. You may have heard about this already, but you have to write a resignation letter. We will show you an example, but the main idea is to keep it short and simple, leave your work processes clearly documented, and more importantly, express gratitude. You want to leave the doors open wherever you go.
For the actual resignation letter, you'll want to include some or all of the following, depending on the situation. The fact that you're leaving, a quick mention of your future plans, if you'd like to share those details, a plan of action where you detail how you'll transition your tasks to your colleagues or replacement. You'll make this plan with your manager, and this will usually involve closing out any projects or plans that you have with colleagues, documenting your processes, walking your manager through the details they need, and could potentially include training a replacement. The date of your last day of work. Check your company's policies about the minimum notice you are expected to give. This is typically 2 weeks, but in some industries or higher level roles, it may be longer. Be sure that you choose a final work day that is within company policy and that you date your resignation letter to show that you submitted it within the expected time frame. An expression of gratitude and appreciation. Keep this letter respectful, positive, and professional, even if you have some negative feelings in the moment. This will be lasting documentation of how you conduct yourself. You want to maintain your integrity and not burn any bridges at this state of your resignation. Send your letter to your boss and copy Human Resources.
Here's the basic resignation letter format. Let's read it now. Please accept this letter as my formal resignation from my role as coordinator. My last day will be Friday, December 1, 2023. Thank you and the team for providing so much training and being great mentors these past 2 years. I have learned a lot and I look forward to staying in touch. Until my last day, I will be creating some training documents that outline all my work processes. You can reach me at xxx@gmail.com with any questions after my departure. Sincerely, your name. You should also schedule a meeting with your manager before or after the letter, depending on the culture of the organization, to talk about it face to face and work on your transition plan. Same as with the letter, you keep the details to a minimum and focus on thanking them and making sure all your work processes are documented for the next person who takes your job. If you're close, you can share where you're going, but stay away from details and avoid salary or gloating about the new role. If you don't have another job lined up, you can keep it general and say thank you, and you're going to take some time to think about what to do next. Keep it short. Rather, focus on what you will do while you're still there to make sure your work is documented and the transition is easy. Oftentimes, you will get an exit interview with human resources. In this interview, you can certainly mention any improvement ideas or feedback, if you have any, about your team or management.
When you leave your job, there are two typical scenarios. One is that you find another job to begin shortly after this one, and the other is that you leave without another job lined up. Let's start with the more straightforward scenario, leaving with a job in hand. In this case, you have conducted a job search and have been offered a new job. For many jobs, there are two stages to the offer, the initial verbal offer and the formal written offer. We recommend waiting until you receive a formal written offer to give notice at your current job. Verbal offers are exciting and get the ball rolling on a new job, but they are not set in stone. After you accept a verbal offer, your hire usually has to be approved by other parties at the organization, some of whom will confirm that money has been dedicated to this role. Once this goes through, HR will formally put you in their hiring pipeline and issue the written offer. This isn't a 100% guarantee either, but you can be much more comfortable that your new job is secure and make your plans to transition. When planning your start date in your new position, take a few things into consideration. First, allow enough time to obtain this written offer, which could take a few days or maybe a week. Consult HR or your hiring manager on that timing, as well as their needs on your start date. Next, build in the amount of notice you will then need to give at work. And finally, consider whether you would like some time in between positions. Some people go straight from one job to another, perhaps to maintain income or insurance benefits, or because their new employer has asked them to start right away. Others give themselves a week or two, or more, in between jobs to take a mental and emotional break, or maybe an actual vacation. Identify your ideal start date, as well as an acceptable start date that lets you wrap up your current position and come to an agreement with your new employer. Finally, it's up to you if you want to share with your current employer the details of your new job. Your employment is your business, and you don't owe anyone the details. But many people find it more comfortable to explain that they are leaving for another position. This can minimize awkwardness and help you control if, when, and how you want to discuss any issues at work that motivated you to leave. It also gives your current colleagues an opportunity to celebrate this milestone in your career. Some people choose to leave their current job without first lining up the next one. There are a lot of reasons you might choose to do this. Searching for a job can be very time-consuming, and some find it difficult to dedicate time to it while they are still working. Sometimes the stresses of working or your personal life make it difficult to identify and articulate what you want to do next, or why you're a strong candidate for a job. Some people find it difficult to interview well in this situation. In extreme cases, difficulties at work can have a significant effect on someone's physical or mental health, which can make a job search difficult to impossible. If you're considering this option, here are a few things to think about as you make your decision. First, take a look at your finances. A job search can take months to even years, depending on many factors like the economy, the availability of jobs, your competitiveness in the job market, and your network of professional allies. It might make you nervous to think about losing income or benefits during this time, how long it will actually take, and what employers will think about that gap on your resume. Ask yourself if you can afford to be without work while you search. Next, consider your various needs during this time and who is in your support system to help you through it. Who can provide job search help, emotional support, financial support, industry connections, childcare, or anything else you need after you leave your job. Make sure you have a plan in place to execute an effective job search after you move on from this role. This is more than Googling open positions in your free time. You'll want to reflect on what kind of work you want to do next, update your resume, think about your skills, experiences, and accomplishments from this last job, practice interviewing, and plan dedicated time every week to search and apply for jobs. This is a whole process of reminding yourself about your goals, aspirations, values, ideal work environment, strengths, and areas of growth so that you can meaningfully discuss these with employers and market yourself for jobs. Managing your time and planning your job search activities will help you stay in control of the process. And don't forget that career coaches are a part of your support system and can help you develop and execute this plan. At the same time, make sure that you can plan for your own self-care. This is especially important if you are leaving a job because your mental or physical health is suffering. What space will you need after leaving to recover? Do you need to plan for medical appointments or therapy sessions? Should you plan a vacation or staycation? Can you build self-care activities into your weekly practice? Your well-being is the most important priority, and you'll need to account for the related time and expenses in your plan. Once you have taken a thorough look at all of this, you can make a more informed decision. Only you can determine whether leaving a job without another one lined up will be beneficial and manageable to you. We can't make that decision for you or guarantee that everything will work out exactly as you want it to. But do know that we have worked with folks who have decided to leave their job and then suddenly found that the time, energy, and well-being that was restored to them made the job search much easier. It is possible if you are well-informed and prepared. Whew, we gave you a lot to think about, but that's a wrap on this session. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't sign off before making sure that you get credit for watching. Scan the QR code on this slide to complete our short quiz. We hope you learned a lot from this, but you don't have to pass the quiz to count your attendance for this session. You just need to submit it. And finally, have questions that you want to discuss? Schedule a meeting with your career coach. If you're not sure who that is, email us at cpd@mercy.edu or find your coach's handshake link on our website. And please follow us on Instagram. We're pushing out fun, educational content all the time, so this way you won't miss a thing.